Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast. This is episode number 349. My name is Adam Patterson. With me today, we got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
Coming in with the good audio this week. We're all in for a
Watch out.
treat. Kevin's got the good audio.
Being professional today.
This week, we're also joined by my co-host on the Saved by the 90s podcast, Ken Bakley. Hey, Ken.
Hello.
Another year has come and gone, and with that, it's time to count down our top films of 2019. Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, you can check out filmpulse.net for lists from everyone on the crew starting today. So check that out. Kevin's got his top 50 as usual, along with his top performances lists. Lots of lists coming.
Watch out.
Really great lists.
Yeah, I'm working on a horror list, so I'll have top 10 horror movies, and then the top list from everybody else on the site as well. So yeah, be sure to give that a look. I think what we're going to do this year, as we've done pretty much every other year, is just go through our top 10s one by one, and then have a little chat about it, and then maybe talk about some of the trends that happened this year, maybe some other honorable mentions to throw in there, underseen movies, underappreciated movies, all of that stuff. We're gonna try to get it all in there. And with that, I think we can kick off the lists. And Ken, I think we'll start it with you since you're our guest this week.
I'm honored. We'll start with my number 10, and my number 10 is Rian Johnson's Knives Out. I was kind of fiddling around with my list, especially the last few slots, right up until basically I filed my written version of the list with you late last night, and that was only because I just basically told myself, stop changing it because you're going to keep messing with it until 2021. But yeah, Knives Out, it's good. It's making a lot of money. Many of you have probably seen it by now, and it's good, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that there was like I don't know if this is like verified, but just chatter on Twitter saying that there's a little bit of a like resurgence of this in theaters around the holiday. Like,
Yeah, it's doing pretty well.
Like a month ago, but people, I guess, word of mouth and all that got around, and now a lot more people are seeing this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great. This is on my list. It's a little bit higher up on my list.
Ooh.
Yeah, Kevin,
Portion.
what's your number 10?
My number 10 is Us.
That's also my number 10. So
it's hard to
It's
believe,
also
but that movie
on
came
my
out.
list at a certain position, a little bit higher.
yeah, it is. This is one of these early year movies that
March, I think.
Yeah.
Which feels like 2016.
Yes.
To be honest. It's been a long fucking year.
It has been. I was trying to think about if 2019 was longer than 2018.
Yes, it was. It
Was
was like
it?
2 years.
Because
Last year was a year and a half.
2018, I believe we had this exact conversation
Yeah.
last year. 2020 will not only feel a lot longer than 2019, I'm predicting, it'll also be longer because it's a leap year.
Yes. Yeah.
And
It's going to feel like 3 years. And it's also going to be the worst year ever.
Yeah.
Feel it in my bones.
Oh, yeah. I don't have a great feeling about the first year of the new decade.
No.
Nor do I, honestly. Us. Yeah, I mean, what's there to say about this that hasn't already been said? It's a really solid horror film from Jordan Peele. This I was a little worried. I was confident, but also a little worried that, this is his second feature, and a lot of times people have difficulty with their second feature, but he didn't seem to have a problem with this at all. He just killed it.
Yes, correct.
You have a lot of really great performances in this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Chock full.
Absolutely.
Chock full. Great performances.
Yeah, I mean, comparing it to Get Out, I don't think it's quite as strong as Get Out, but it's funny, like I've been meaning to go back and rewatch this. I'm really anxious to watch this again. I haven't seen it since it first came out. And
Same here. And I had the issue of it being an early release and me not having seen it for so long that I kept wanting to drop it because all the other films are, far fresher in my mind. But at a certain point, you can't hold that against the film.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually saw it slightly more recently. I saw it, I think, shortly after it came out on VOD because some reason I missed it while it was in theaters. And yeah, it was just kind of lingering there on my list throughout the whole year. But I still felt there had to be a place for it somewhere.
All right, Ken, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is Booksmart.
Oh, okay.
I just rewatched this last night. Came away with a slightly even greater appreciation of how great a movie it is, how funny and perceptive. And I also want an entire second movie that is just Will Forte and Lisa Kudrow's characters naming graduation-related food puns.
They could easily make a sequel to this that takes place in college.
Mm-hmm.
Just have it be they're freshmen in college. I would love a sequel to this.
As long as there's more food puns.
Oh, there will be food puns
in a movie filled with great scenes. That's a great scene.
Kevin, have you seen this yet?
No, I have not. This is one that I didn't get to.
on it. Get on it.
One day, we will speak of Booksmart. Today's not that day, at least not for me. But at some point, yes, it'll happen. You got to be patient.
I feel like, and I've said this before on previous episodes, I feel like comedies are very few and far between. Good comedies are very few and far between these days.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for many years, we would just get tons of comedies throughout the year. Great comedies. And then it just sort of dried up. And I just don't think we get that many truly great comedies. And this one certainly is one of the best comedies of the year, hands down.
Beanie Feldstein for president.
Yeah, she's so good. Kevin, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is Parasite.
Wow.
Have you heard of it? Parasite?
Yeah, I think I might have.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, this is on my list as well. Ken, I'm sure it's on your list too.
Absolutely.
Parasite. It's insane to me, 2019, that every major theater in my area was playing Parasite. I never thought, back in high school, with us buying, bootleg DVDs off of eBay, I would be able to go to the movie theater and see a Bong Joon-ho movie, and like it would be, talked about by everyone.
2015 is wild.
Yeah, it's a wild time that we're living in.
Yeah, I mean, like when Memories of Murder came out, I don't even think there was any kind of easy way to see that in the States. I think that was. Did you buy that? I think
so.
I think you bought that. I think that was an eBay purchase.
So many eBay purchases.
And it was just, the movies were just so hard to get back then. And now, yeah, like you said, this is playing everywhere. And I think that's just a testament to the power of this movie. I don't know if it's a word of mouth thing again with this movie, that it's just getting so much acclaim that it is ending up in these smaller theaters. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is, but I'm very happy that it is.
Yes.
I mean, maybe the distributor, this is a Neon release and they've been putting out larger releases. So it might have to do with the distributor as well. A lot of these Asian films, they end up going to like Wellgo or one of these other smaller American distributors that don't have the power to release them in 2,000 theaters, I'm actually surprised it's that low on your list. I'm saddened, actually, that it's that low on your list.
Well, I'm sorry. It's my list. Fucking deal with it.
My favorite thing about when people compare their top 10 lists is that somehow it causes more surprise when a movie that someone else has as like their number 1 or 2 is someone else's like 7 or 8 or 9 than if it wasn't there at all.
Yeah, like you should be happy it's on my list.
I'm happy it's on your list.
Kevin's about to retroactively go back and rate it 1 star on Letterboxd.
No, I take it off. It's Chained for Life is my number 9.
Mm-hmm.
See? Are you happy now?
Mm-hmm.
I'm being punished now. You know what? Nobody gets Parasite now.
Parasite is now descended from number.
Take it off your list too.
Yeah, now Parasite is descended from Kevin's number 9 to somewhere in like the high 70s.
God, what have I done? All right. My number 9 is The Art of Self-Defense from Riley Stearns. This is a movie that I don't think ended up on. I don't think a lot of people saw this movie.
I forgot
In
all
general.
about this movie, to be honest.
I really love this movie. I think it's really smart. It's really funny, and a it's that great kind of absurdist humor that I love, but it's surprisingly dark too. And I've just found the script to be so refreshing. So this had to make it to my list. I know, Kevin, you haven't seen this. Ken, have you seen The Art of Self-Defense?
There is so much I haven't seen this year. I for various reasons I was not able to watch as much this year as I did last year. So unfortunately, the answer for a lot of these is going to be maybe not. Probably no, I didn't see it. So
I think this is just such an underrated title for the year. So, The Art of Self-Defense, check it out. Ken, what's your number 8?
my number 8 was Us, which we already discussed.
All right,
Good
yeah.
movie.
If you haven't seen Us yet, I mean, I think pretty much everybody saw it at this point, but it is well worth a look. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that there are a solid number of horror movies on a lot of people's top 10s this year, and I love to see that.
So it's good getting that genre fair in there.
Yeah, I actually have a few genre movies on my list this year, which is great.
All right.
Kevin, what's your number 8?
Hey, you were talking about absurdist humor. So I have Keep an Eye Out by Quentin Dupieux, which I'm kind of, I was in the same kind of issue I was having that Ken spoke about earlier, where I just kept tweaking. And I feel like this should be higher, but I had to stop. But this movie is just like pretty much perfect for me. I was kind of rewatching some of it the other day, and just the humor in there is just right in my wheelhouse. So ridiculous, the back and forth.
Yeah, this is another one that I feel like not a lot of people talked about. I'm not even sure a lot of people are aware that this movie exists, to be honest.
Yeah. And in terms of like years ago, Dupieux was kind of a thing, it seemed like. But to me, it seems like he's kind of dropped off. No one's really talking about him as much. But I feel like he's at the height of his game right now. I think he's making the best movies that he's made.
Yeah, I mean, he started getting a little bit of buzz with Wrong because that was, an English language film. So he started getting a little bit more buzz here in the States. And I think that was a Draft House Films release. So that had a little bit of clout behind it. And then he started making, French films again.
Yeah, which he's really been thriving because Reality was really great.
Yeah, Reality was.
Keep an Eye Out. Keep an Eye Out to me is like his pinnacle. So I'm really excited for the next one.
Yeah, I agree.
Ridiculous.
I would agree. I really loved Wrong, but I think Keep an Eye Out is his best.
It's just, I mean, it's so just lean and damn near perfect.
It's wildly funny too.
Yes, extremely funny and really stupid at times, which I kind of miss just that really fucking dumb humor. Like when he eats the oyster. I don't know why. It's such a stupid gag, but it gets me every time.
It's really funny. Ken, if you want to see somebody eating an oyster with the shell and everything.
When have I ever wanted anything else?
You should definitely check out Keep an Eye Out, because the dude just straight up eats the oyster shell and all.
I am delight. Kind of reminds me of like a Vine or something I saw once of I guess this is a thing. I don't know. Maybe it was just the one Vine, but it was like these two people. There's one person pulling to drive through, another person's filming, and they order like a soft serve ice cream cone. And when the guy at the counter hands over, she just like flips it over, grabs the ice cream, and just bites out the cone and speeds off.
I've seen that. I saw that Vine actually. Yeah,
I like the chaos of that kind of food related humor. As much as I like the food-related puns of books,
like,
the secret trend of 2019 is food-related comedy.
Filmmakers, if you're listening, to get on Ken's good side, food stuff, food humor, food puns.
Mm-hmm. It's an easy laugh, right? It's an easy joke that you can put in your movie. Just have somebody eat something wrong, and it's instantly funny. Like put a banana in your movie and have somebody eat the banana by like holding it horizontally and just taking a bite out of it without feeling it.
I think it's fucking corn on the cob or something.
Yeah, just do that. Put that in your movie, and it will instantly gain laughs. I mean, we're laughing about it just the concept of eating a banana like that. It's hilarious.
Oh God.
My number 8 is pretty much the polar opposite of what we just talked about, and that's An Elephant Sitting Still from
Oh, you told me
Kubo.
about this. Yeah,
Yeah,
we were
I
watching this
just
recently.
yeah, I just watched this yesterday, and because it's so fresh, I was like not really sure if it was going to crack the top 10 or not, but I've just been ruminating on this movie just nonstop. I just can't stop. I can't get it out of my head. It's just such a powerful film. And yes, it is 4 hours long. Let's just get that out of the way. It is a long movie, very long, but it is totally worth it if you can stick with it. I didn't watch it all in one sitting, actually. I broke it into 2 sections. So I watched 2 hours, then took a break, and then watched the other 2 hours a little bit later yesterday. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, the way that it's set up. So it follows four characters, and it's like a day in their lives. So it takes place over the course of one day, and there's scene breaks. So during that transition from one character to another, I just hit the pause on that and came back to it later. It is really intensely depressing. It's maybe one of the
we love that.
Maybe one of the bleakest films I've ever seen in my life. If you're familiar with Hubo, he was a student of Béla Tarr. So if you've ever seen any of Béla Tarr's films, you have an idea of what to expect from this. Although I've only seen The Turn Horse. That's the only Béla Tarr film I've seen, I believe. But this to me was way, way, way better than that. I was not a big fan of The Turn Horse, other than the visuals. This movie has incredible visuals. It's pretty much all just super long Steadicam shots, and it's a beautiful film, but it's also insanely sad. Like it just bombards you for 4 hours with pure melancholy. It's
Yeah, didn't the director of this commit suicide before it was even released?
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
after,
that gives you kind of an idea.
yeah, he was only 29 too.
Yeah.
It's really, really sad. This is his first feature as well. So the whole time I'm watching it, I mean, it's impossible not to think about that as you're watching it, because this is a film that deals with sadness, and just in, in the one of the early scenes, you have a guy who commits suicide in one of the early scenes in the film, and so it's impossible not to think about that as you're watching it. The fact that he did kill himself after finishing this. There were apparently, I don't know if it was proven, but there were a lot of arguments with the producers to cut down the runtime. They wanted to cut it in half, actually, and he didn't want that, and it, I guess, drove him to take his own life, unfortunately. But the saddest thing about all of it is just the movie is so good that I can't help but wonder, like, what kind of incredible things he would have made if he kept, if he
Yeah.
didn't take his own life.
True.
It's so good. I mean, I understand that the runtime is going to prevent a lot of people from seeing this, but I really wish it didn't, because it's just so incredible. So that's my number 8, An Elephant Sitting Still.
Don't be afraid to
Ken?
watch long movies, folks.
I
I say
mean,
that more to myself than anything else, but
yeah, long movies they're tough. I mean, like a lot of people I know, Kevin, this is like a huge thing for you, is runtimes in movies.
Yeah.
And
And this is a movie that I will watch though, because I've heard enough good things. But there was one just recently, LaFleur got put
14
over the
hours
Chris.
long.
Yeah, 14 hours long. Got put out by Grasshopper Films that you could stream it. And for a split second, I was like, oh yeah, that's what I'm doing on my break. I have off for 2 weeks. So I'm gonna watch LaFleur. But then I'm like thinking about the hours, and I'm just like, that's several days that I just lose to a movie. Like, I'm sorry, I value my time. I got too much shit to do. I can't do it.
well,
So I've come to the realization that I'm never watching LaFleur.
Well,
Never happened.
Ken and I were actually just discussing LaFleur last night, and I believe
Not that either of us have seen it, but
no, neither of us have seen it. But I believe that one was actually shot in episodes, so it's more episodic. I think it's broken up into 6 episodes.
I can't imagine it existing in any other way. I can't imagine someone making like a continuous, like non-episodic 14-hour narrative. But
well, it's funny how like people will sit down and they'll binge an entire season of a Netflix show over one day, but then a 3-4 hour movie comes out and they're just like, nope, not gonna. And I'm not saying that you were that way, Kevin, or anything, but
no, because we've already discussed. I can watch like one episode and that's it. I'm done.
It's
one
just
episode in a sitting.
I find
it's just like the pacing's usually different. You know what I mean?
I do.
I think that plays a big part of it, because usually a lot of these films that are that long, they're almost always slow cinema type deals, and they're usually very bleak and very depressing.
Well, An Elephant Sitting Still is definitely that. It is the bleakest. Ken, what do you have for number 7?
Well, I'm just going to keep our, we're just going to go a little bit more emotionally light here, a little bit fluffier, a little bit happier. My number 7 is Noah Baumbach's Marriage Story.
Oh, man. This didn't quite make my list, but it's up there. I have it as number 15 on my bigger list.
He threw out Fluffy, and I thought, is he going to say Cats?
Oh, no.
I should have said Cats. My number 7 is Tom Hooper's Cats, but I haven't seen it. So my number 7 is the first trailer for Tom Hooper's Cats.
Nice.
All that talk about Cats, and you haven't seen Cats.
Well, I wasn't gonna pay to see it. When I talked about Cats, I thought they were gonna send like a screener, but then that wasn't finished in time, so they weren't sending one. I'm like, am I gonna pay to see this?
It wasn't even finished by the time it hit theaters.
No, they had to.
I thought they were gonna do like the YouTube thing, and it would just all end up on our streaming devices.
Yeah, once
we were forced, like you couldn't. It was like an update. Like you couldn't do anything else until you watched Cats.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that they put it on there. It's that there was nothing else on there. Like one day you were going to turn on like Netflix, and every title was going to be Cats.
Just Cats.
And then you go to Hulu, and every title on Hulu is Cats.
That would be a good April Fool's joke for one of those streaming services to like change all the thumbnails to the Cats.
Everything is Cats.
Just Cats.
I want to get back to Cats in a second, but first I want to talk about Marriage Story. Why was this on your list?
It is a very heavy film, but it's also just one of like this incredible perceptive like sense of humanity, and like tracking these characters in just such like painfully human ways. Like it's just, for all that's been said about it, since it is like a high profile Netflix release and so many people have gotten a chance to see it, I think the thing that really does stay with a lot of people is just how like humane it remains even through all that happens.
Yeah, I completely agree. I was really surprised with this. I talked about it a few weeks back when I saw it, and I went into it not expecting much at all. I pretty much went into it just looking for the performances, just for year-end purposes and awards purposes. And I came out of it just really kind of impressed with the story overall. I didn't think I was going to like it, but I ended up really liking it a lot. And Kevin, I think that, actually, no, I don't think you would like it, Kevin. I'm not sure this would be one for you, but.
No, I don't think so. I'm not a Baumbach. He doesn't work for me. He's really hit or miss, and it's just.
Yeah.
Other stuff.
One concern that I had is that I've always kind of felt a degree of like detachment from a lot of other Baumbach movies, but this one, like, you kind of go in, you're thinking about what it's about, and you feel like there's going to be something sort of distant about it, but it is just so connective, and I keep coming back to that word, humane, and just that's what really moved me about it.
Yeah, I had a couple nitpicks with it, but I thought that some of the things that happened at the end were really lame, and I was not into that, which unfortunately kind of sullied the whole thing for me. But overall, I think it was pretty great. I want to get back to Cats and talk about the.
This guy's like, we're putting the top tens on hold. Fuck that. Let's talk about Cats.
Well, we're talking about trends, right? We wanted to talk about some of the big things that happened in the world of cinema this year, and I think it's really important to talk about what they did with Cats and how they changed it.
Is this perhaps a new trend?
I think it could be, not specifically Cats, but what they did, where they actually sent a new version of the movie out.
Well, and the insane thing is they had to. Like, what they put into theaters is just, it blows my mind that
It was
like this is
literally
allowed now.
Finished.
Yes, like this is okay practice now to just rush something, not have it finished, just throw it into theaters, fix it later.
It's
And everyone's just kind of treating it like, at first it was like, oh wow, this is ridiculous, but now it's like it's normal. It's just going to be standard practice from here on out. I bet you. I just have a feeling.
That's what I'm afraid of. I'm a big video game player. I'm huge into video games, and this is something that they started doing with video games several years ago, where most people get their video games digitally now, and they can release a video game in an unfinished form. There have been multiple high-profile AAA video games that have been released that haven't been finished. Like, they're just not done yet, and they add the content later through updates and patches. And I always find it interesting to look at the sort of symbiotic relationship between video games and movies and how those two influence each other. And I'm like really concerned that this sets a very dangerous precedent for high profile movies being released in theaters in an unfinished state and then later updating them to, I mean, we've seen it before with, what George Lucas did with the Star Wars movies, but I think that this is even more sort of insidious thing to do, where you're changing a movie. Like, if I go see a movie, I would say 99% of the movies that I see, that I pay to go see in the theater, I will see
are usually finished.
Usually, you would hope.
They are usually finished, but I'll go see them opening weekend. So if they're going to start doing this, I will always see the bad version. Like every movie I see will be the unfinished one with Judi Dench's hands.
And that's the other thing. It's like, it wasn't, like small stuff that, people were able to pick out. Like, it was the main thing of, these are human people. You're supposed to cover them up with fur because they're supposed to be cats, because the name of the movie is Cats. Like, that's
I went to see Cats, but there were no cats.
It's like, why are there human hands? You would think at least someone, the quality control, somebody watched the whole thing and was like, okay, here's all the hands. Let's cover those up before we send it to the theater.
If I remember correctly, I believe Tom Hooper said at the premiere of Cats that he had been working on they'd been working on this cut for about like the last 36 hours and had just finished it that day. Mm-hmm. So I now want, like, I wish there could have been a documentary just about that final 36 hours of putting having to lock the final cut of Cats, even though it's not done.
We'll never see that.
No.
Well, it's crazy to me too that a studio can do that, throw it into theaters. Theaters will show it. People will pay for it. And even if, like a handful of people are like, what the fuck? That movie was not finished. Like, I see human hands everywhere. Why? And it's just like, nothing we can do. That's the movie.
It's really a difficult moment for digital fur technology, I think.
I mean, what is your take? Do you think it's best to just leave it, like, in a situation like that? I think
just go back into, standard operating procedure. It used to be, you finish a film, then you set up a date for it to come out. Just do that. Just wait until the movie's done. You have the movie, set up a release date, and then put it into theaters. Don't say, this is the release date. Okay, movie's not done. Well, we can't move the release date. Put it in.
Sometimes, especially with like the franchise titles, this is a release date. Now let's hire a director and hire a screenwriter.
Yeah, like, it's insane to me.
But let's say, hypothetically, this happens again. A movie gets released, and there's something about it that's not finished. There's like a major error in it. do you think it's best to just leave it as is, or do you think it's best to go with the Cats route and fix it and then swap it out while it's still in theaters?
I have a feeling that this is going to only happen with movies that are absolute shit to begin with. I mean, Cats was shit from the outset. Before anyone even started filming anything.
When it was in the
you knew it was
concept
shit.
phase.
It's fucking Cats.
I mean, this is about the 355th time I've said this, but what was the impetus to turn this into a movie?
Yeah, I mean, it was
good.
doomed from the start, right? Like, nobody even likes Cats. Is there anybody that likes Cats, the play?
No.
I don't think so.
Cats is kind of just exists culturally as this completely bizarre idea, like this weird moment at the start of the reign of like the Andrew Lloyd Webber 80s mega musical, and no one knows exactly what it is. No one has ever known exactly what it is. I don't think anyone really likes it. And that's been the whole thing. If you heard about that musical, it's just about a bunch of cats.
And I think it's one of those. It's like it was a curiosity thing, and then someone mistook that as people really love this. It's really popular. No, it's not. It's just people are someone explained Cats to someone, and they're like, "Well, I have to see. That sounds fucking ridiculous."
So what your hypothesis is the way the play version was pretty much the same as the movie version, where people just went because they had heard such horrible things, and they're like, "Well, I gotta see this for myself."
People love fucking train wrecks. I mean, Pet Rock was a fucking thing. There's tons of shit that's just stupid as fuck, and people go see it or experience it.
I guess that's why. I guess that's why The Room played in theaters for
and people mistake
however many years it was in theaters.
People mistake it as oh, these people are really enjoying it. It's really popular.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much money that movie made. I don't know I think it was a flop, right?
Let's check the Cats box office figures. Okay, as of the morning of December 30th, it has grossed a grand total of $38.4 million off a budget that is estimated to be somewhere around $100 million.
And that, because what's the budget though? Is the budget the first attempt at making this movie, or are you
somewhere around $100 million before marketing?
Did the patch go into? Was that taken into account into the budgeting?
Yeah, I mean, because I would assume that the budget was before that pre-patch.
Yeah, and the thing that bothers me about something like this and the Sonic movie is you have people in charge at the top, pretty much like any other corporation or any entity, that are just mediocre as all hell and fucking wholly incompetent. And then you have these people that actually have to do the work, which I'm sure the effects people were like, "Hey, Cats isn't done. We're not going to be done in time." And they're just
yes, whatever. It is.
And then they release it, and everyone's complaining about it, and they probably go back to those FX people, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And they're like, "Yeah, we told you 3 months ago." And now they have to work overtime to try and crank this shit out. It's pathetic. It's so sad.
This seems like just a complete systemic failure at every level. Just at not only just the final film, just at every level of the getting this thing made.
And the thing that angers me even more is, I bet you any money the people in charge of Cats that made all these terrible decisions, they're going to fail upwards. And I'm sure that majority of them got promoted, or they're getting, another huge blockbuster to oversee.
Yeah, that's
the way it works. That's how it works.
Well, I guess we have to figure out what other hellish theatrical disasters they will greenlight for film adaptations now.
Yeah, I'm also curious to see if this is going to happen again, when this happens again.
Oh, it will.
Cats too.
More Cats. One final observation on Cats.
This is it. It's the last one.
I want to touch very briefly on Universal just completely surrendering the idea that it was going to be competitive for any awards. Then B, one of the original song from it getting a Golden Globe nomination, and then C, Universal pulling the movie from its for your consideration website, just a website that just lists movies from a studio, and it was just such a disaster. They just pretended, for the sake of awards consideration, that the movie didn't exist that year. They are removing. They're trying to remove Cats from existence.
They knew it was going to be bad, and they were like, "Okay, well, we sunk $100 million into this. We need to just try to get it out before marketing." So we could estimate 200 million easily for this.
Remember when they said, when there was that rumor going around that it cost $300 million?
Yes, I do. Well, it's funny to like compare that to something like 1917, which had a $100 million budget, and just, I mean, again, I haven't seen Cats, but just judging from the trailers, it looks like visually it looks atrocious. And
digital fur technology.
Comparing that to something like 1917, which had a similar budget that looks so incredible, and it's like, okay, I can see that this would cost $100 million to make. Anyway, Kevin, what's your number 7?
I have a Netflix movie as well. That's Atlantics by Matty Diop, and this is we talked about this, I think, last week or the week before, whatever the last podcast was. But again, this is wild to me that I can see a Matty Diop movie pop up on my Netflix when I start up my Roku. It's a nice balance of sadness and like hope. There's an undercurrent of hope in this movie, of being this ghost romance love story type thing. And I said it before and I'll say it again, like, in the hands of anyone else, this movie is silly, but it works so well here in the way that she handles everything, of, you know, spirits possessing people and coming back, and just the love story built around that is, if you haven't seen it, Atlantics, it's right there on Netflix. Watch it.
Yeah, I was able to squeeze this in for the end of the year, and I liked how they represented the ghosts with the contacts and stuff. I thought that it wasn't. I didn't think that it came off as being silly, but I completely agree with you that in the hands of a lot of other directors,
Tom Hooper,
in the hands of Tom Hooper, it wouldn't
digital
have
ghost technology.
Yeah, they would have been like, you know, translucent people with sheets over their heads, but they wouldn't have like finished it. So like there'd be one guy in a hoodie standing in the background.
It's just there's this to me, there's this, you know, like I said, there's the sadness, but there's hope, and there's also an eeriness mixed with the sereneness of the entire film, like cutting in all the shots of the ocean and just like the lighting in general in this movie. Just, I was very taken with it.
Yeah, it's definitely a solid watch. I could easily recommend Atlantics. I have a Netflix movie as my number 7 as well, and that's The Irishman. This is one that shifted around on my list a lot. For a while it wasn't on the list, and then it made it, and it was just, I wasn't sure how to place this, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I really love this movie, and I like the idea of rounding up this cast and going back to the gangster movie. And I think that the big benefit of this movie is that it was on Netflix, and it allowed Scorsese to just kind of do his own thing, like just have full creative control over it. It is a long movie, and it's a really great rumination on the gangster film. And I really appreciated it. Really great performances. I love to see Joe Pesci come back. It's a solid watch, The Irishman.
Absolutely, and that's number 6 on my list.
Nice, good transition.
Yeah, and yeah, I just completely echo everything you said. I just love the idea of Scorsese examining this genre that so many of his films have been a part of, just at different points in his career and just life as an artist, and kind of thinking back on not only examining these characters in this film, in the sprawling world of this film, but just kind of in a way what this sort of staple of popular culture kind of means and affects society as a whole, and being able to do so through this story that feels so just stunningly realized in its own way. Yeah, it's great.
I think it's really great how it's almost like a very self-reflective movie, considering that he, you know, Scorsese got big with the gangster movie, and the fact that he is sort of making this movie with this largely the same cast that he's used in the past, and taking the story, the true story, and sort of using that to not only tell a really great gripping crime drama, but also tell it in such a self-reflective way. Kevin, what's your number 6?
Another Netflix movie. Seems like we've hit the Netflix patch here, which I guess could be considered a trend for this year. Netflix actually putting out some solid movies.
Yeah.
Netflix, is it good?
That's usually what we say with, when me and Adam are doing the podcast and, we watch a Netflix movie or we're covering a Netflix movie.
Yeah, it's always a discussion. Netflix is always a discussion.
They've always been this like aggressively okay movies that exist and take up space and are technically movies, but
that's not entirely fair, because some of them were also terrible.
Yes, there's also that, but those usually don't make it to the front page of Netflix's menu.
Oh, sometimes they do.
That's true.
I believe we mentioned this. Well, I have to imagine that we did, just the massive quality variance of Netflix, and how, and this has just been like a pet peeve of mine, how Netflix historically has just like become something that just obsessively promotes the only one thing that they judge to be most popular at a given time, which can sometimes mean that if something completely terrible becomes popular at a given time, it will promote that to death.
Yeah.
And I still have horrible flashbacks to 2018's The Kissing Booth.
Kissing Booth.
I don't know why I saw it. I don't know why I finished it, but I did.
I want to touch on the Netflix thing again, but Kevin, what's your number 6 first?
And this is, I mean, it makes sense, but this also kind of speaks to what Ken was talking about. My number 6 is The Body Remembers When the World Broke Open, directed by Kathleen Hepburn and Elle Mege Tailfeathers. And Atlantics and The Body Remembers When the World Broke Open kind of came out at the same time as Irishman and Marriage Story. And if you're on Twitter, I mean, Marriage Story and The Irishman, Jesus Christ, they fucking dominated. That's all anyone ever talked about. And it's kind of depressing on my end, because for me, you have these two movies that are phenomenal. Not to take anything away from Irishman or Marriage Story, but you have equally phenomenal movies that just get buried. Kind of like what Ken talked about, is if a movie comes out and it becomes somewhat popular, that's all Netflix, they will devote all of their time and energy to, is that one title. And they'll just completely ignore things that they bought for their platform to put out. They're just like, no, it doesn't exist. Fuck that movie.
I 100% agree with you. It should be noted that those two movies are not Netflix originals.
True. Yeah, but so there's a difference there.
They're not Netflix originals, but I think that they were, like, there was some sort of deal there where they were released exclusively on Netflix, I think.
I'm pretty sure.
Because I mean that was how they were released. I don't think that they got released. I don't know if there was like a theatrical release for those. Like, all of the PR emails and stuff I got for those movies were saying Netflix. Like, this is going to be released on Netflix. So
Netflix presents a Netflix production, a Netflix original.
Well, I know that The Body Remembers was that was an Array release. Was Atlantics also an Array release?
I don't think so.
I don't think it was, but I know that Ava DuVernay's Array, I think that they have some kind of deal with Netflix where their movies are going to be put out on Netflix. But I completely agree with you that, yes, this has been a problem for Netflix for a long time. When you look at their upcoming releases and they have like, oh, in 2020 we have 1,000 releases coming out. We have 1,000 Netflix originals. Like,
we will tell you about 5 of them.
Yeah, I mean, things are bound to get buried. It happens every year where Netflix will release a movie from like Shien Sono, and it'll be like, what? Netflix made a Shien Sono movie? What's going on here? Like, I wasn't even aware of this. and it just suddenly drops. And I think it's a shame that their marketing is so all over the place. I mean, especially because they're so proud of their algorithm, right? That supposedly shows you what you're going to be interested in,
which is complete trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, because every time I
100%.
open the Netflix app, it's showing me Six Underground. Like, I want to see that. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, and the fact that it shows you nothing but
I completely
Netflix
forgot about
original.
Six Underground.
Yeah. Michael Bay. Michael
Bay made a movie for Netflix.
starring Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said just about how when you're just putting out so much, no matter even if they were genuinely trying to promote everything, stuff would fall through the cracks. It was an observation that was made by the director of a movie that's very high up on my list. In fact, is my number one. So I can't exactly say who said this, but they were saying that if their movie had been put on Netflix as opposed to the distributor that theatrically released it, they all had no doubt in their mind it would have just been completely buried on the platform.
I think that's one major thing that Netflix needs to get. They need to get their shit together on that, because I think it's a shame what's happening. I mean, Netflix is a great platform. It is in most American households at this point, and it's a great way to get great movies out there. But if nobody knows about them, how are they going to get seen? You know, and I can't imagine how it would be for just the general movie watching public when I miss movies that come out on Netflix, and I look at like the release calendar and stuff on Netflix. Like, I try to keep up with what's coming
and
out.
you know, you're getting emails,
Right? Some,
and sometimes they don't even tell you. They don't even email about the movies that they're putting out.
which
because
which is
emails
really
are so
crazy.
expensive to send.
Yeah, I mean, that's the craziest thing is, like, sometimes I don't even get an email about a new movie coming out on Netflix. Sometimes they don't even email me about it, which is even crazier. All right, my number 6 is not a Netflix movie. It is Midsummer by Ari Aster. I really loved Hereditary. I was really excited for Midsummer, and I was not let down. I thought it was fantastic. It's insanely creepy. It's funny. There's a lot of humor in it, and I haven't seen the director's cut yet. I really want to see the director's cut and experience that.
I wasn't quite as impressed by Midsummer as most other people have. I mean, I really loved Hereditary, but there's just something a little bit more detached with that for me about trying to connect with what Ari Aster was doing. Although he's definitely great at like just mood and energy and tone, and of course Florence Pugh is fantastic in it.
Yeah, I know, Kevin, you weren't as high on this one either as I was, but to me, it's as a horror lover, I really appreciated this movie. Ken, what do you got for number 5? Top 5.
At number 5, I have Joanna Hogg's The Souvenir.
The Souvenir. Okay,
that's one I didn't get to watch.
I didn't see this either, actually.
It's about a kind of young film student who sort of talks about how she's living in a bubble her whole life, so kind of this comfortable socioeconomic bubble. She wants to kind of tell more stories about different people and different perspectives in the world around her, and at the same time, she's also in this relationship with this slightly older man. He's a civil servant, and it's found and he's a drug addict, and the relationship is horribly toxic and unhealthy. And through this, Joanna Hogg, who I believe is telling the story somewhat autobiographically, it's based on something that actually did happen to her when she was young. She never strays away from just like the impact of this very unhealthy relationship, this very toxic relationship, but it's also this really great meditation on just kind of the act of remembering, just the way that we are changed and shaped in better or worse and good and bad ways by the events and the people in our past. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's also I think very, very cohesive and impactful.
And that's a Souvenir. I wanted to see this, but I just couldn't squeeze it in, unfortunately. Kevin, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is August at Akiko's.
Okay.
By Christopher Makoto Yogi.
I was able to squeeze this one in. I enjoyed
How
this.
did you get that in there?
I did. Yeah.
Look at you.
You know what? Kevin, when you say that a movie's really great, I watch it. I'm like, you know what?
That's
Kevin
nice.
said it's great. I'm gonna take time out of my day to watch this Kevin recommendation.
Nice. Did you like it?
I did like it. Yeah, it's
Good.
great.
Because I'd be hurt if you didn't. You know,
You gave it a 4 out of 5. Gave it a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
4 out of 5. It's my number 5. Number 5 film of the year.
Why did you
Slap it
like
on there.
this? You
Just-
actually talked about this a couple weeks ago, but
Yeah, I think this might have been on the last podcast. This is part of the year-end crunch, just filling in everything. Just the overall tone of this movie, where you have Alex Zhang Hung Tai, who's a kind of experimental jazz musician, sax player, like me and Adam.
yeah,
I still consider us sax players.
yeah, I do too.
Once a sax player, always a sax player.
I think so.
Him going back to Hawaii and kind of getting in touch with his roots, not being there, and kind of reconnecting and kind of going through this transformation by staying at this Buddhist bed breakfast run by Kiko, and she kind of helps him like get in touch with his culture and where he comes from and just everything that he goes through, and just the overall atmosphere of the movie, the visuals of the movie, a lot of superimposing images on top of each other, just the music, Hung Tai's sax playing throughout.
I thought he
Just,
was. I thought he was terrible at the saxophone.
I thought he was good at this. I mean, it's I forget what the terms for it.
A lot of saxophone discourse.
Yeah.
It's like this, like
It's a dude-
freeform
Yeah.
jazz style.
Got that, speaking to his inner turmoil going on there. But just I don't know, the overall, the feeling, the mood that it put me in for, an hour and 15 minutes. It's just very calming and relaxing.
Yeah, it's a very soothing movie. There's a lot of.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful film. I think it's hard to make an ugly film considering where they were
Yeah.
shooting.
You'd have to go out of your way.
Yeah, it's pretty gorgeous, the locale. But yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. I didn't like the superimposing stuff either. Actually, I wasn't a big fan of that.
Well,
It's fine. Didn't bring it down too much. for me.
Yeah, okay. Let's just leave it at that. You watched it, you liked it. I'm happy. If I can get one person to watch it, which success already happened.
Oh yeah, I could recommend it easily. I love the like docufiction style.
Yes. Docufiction always works for me for some reason.
Yeah, big time. My number 5 is Uncut Gems by the Safdie brothers. Big fan of this one. We talked about this last episode, so I won't get into it too much, but I thought performances across the board were fantastic. I love the Safdie brothers style, their sort of hyper realism that they have, and how they shoot gritty New York grime. I love it.
Completely horrifying style, and I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, it's very, very dirty. Their style seems very dirty, gritty.
Just so unsettling, which is kind of the point of a lot of their films, just that sense of anxious disorientation.
Yeah, a big time with this movie too. This movie is very unnerving. But yeah, it's great. It's great. Loved it. Number 4, Ken, what do you got?
At number 4, I have Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
I was able to squeeze this in, but tell me why it's so high up on your list.
The cinematography is great. It's just gorgeously shot with all these, with just this not limited but just very specific color palette, and how everything just seems how everything, all the bright locations seem so bright and all the dark locations seem so dark. Anyway, I love the cinematography, and just this idea of how it's very much about, and I think this is another motif that a lot of films this year have in some way or another, just about this idea of trying to remember something. And what's interesting here is that it's not about the act of memory as just, these two characters knowing that they only have this limited amount of time together in this one specific scenario that's just completely limited by not only society but just like the actual circumstances of their meeting, that it has to be so inextricably temporary, and just trying to go through this entire time as just an act of trying to commit to memory what is then recalled in the almost a framing device, but sort of that is this movie. Like the last couple scenes, which are, I think, were fantastic, absolutely drive that point home by almost shifting the entire perspective through which you think about the movie and how it plays with like time and placement and just like the ability to just recall something and remember things. I don't know. It's like it's something I'm still working through in a lot of ways.
This is the same cinematographer, by the way, as Atlantic's, Claire Mathon.
Great cinematographer.
Yeah. That was definitely a gorgeous movie for sure.
Yeah, it's about how you remember. Portrait of a Lady on Fire. It's a movie about how you remember things. You know how you remember things, like something happened to you in the past, and then you remember it later. It's about that. Let's remember things, but let's not have a memory. Let's not use the word memory, because that'll remind us of the song from Cats.
Oh God. Kevin, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Black Mother by Caligula, which this documentary of Jamaica, kind of shot through his style of these phenomenal images and interviewing pretty much anyone and everyone, it seems like, in Jamaica, across, all different backgrounds, to kind of create this picture of Jamaica, through the people that live there. And just his whole style in general, I just absolutely love. I mean, and just the way that he breaks it up between, the audio not matching the video, and it kind of keeping you on your toes in both ways. There's no reason to ever look away, because it's pretty much always something gorgeous on screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then just, it's just, you seem like you're there. Like a full picture of a place.
Yes, the real Jamaica, not the American style resorts that one might go to.
And the fact that, like I said, he speaks to everyone, and everyone is afforded the same time and the same platform, and I truly believe, and I get the sense that he treats every single person the same, like as an equal.
It's pretty solid. If you're into like experimental documentaries, this is certainly one to check out. We actually reviewed this on an episode in the past. I can't remember when that was. A long time ago.
That was a while back.
It was a while back. My number 4 is One Cut of the Dead by Shinichiro Ueda. This is one that I had zero expectations going into it. The marketing was pretty piss poor in the US, at least, and the poster is not good. But don't let that fool you, because there's a lot going on underneath the surface of this movie. You think you have an idea of what it's going to be going into it. It's like, oh, it's about a film crew making a zombie movie, but then actual zombies attack them. But it's so much more than that. I think that this is a movie that's best served completely cold. You like go into it not knowing anything at all about it, and the turns that it takes, and the style of it, the technical aspect of it is just superb. I completely loved this movie from start to finish. That it's so much fun. It's probably one of the best zombie comedies ever made. I mean, it's like right underneath Shaun of the Dead for me. Highly recommend One Cut of the Dead.
Where could, because this looks great. Where can I see this?
It's on Shudder, I think.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Shudder picked it up. It's like a Shudder exclusive, so you can give it a look on there. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's one that I saw it at a festival way earlier in the year, and I was worried that I was going to forget about it, but no, it stayed. It started off high on the list, and it remained. Top 3. Here we go, Ken. What you got for number 3?
My number 3 is Homecoming. This is the Beyonce concert documentary that she directed. It is both a documentary about the creation of her much acclaimed performance at Coachella in 2018, and also the a film of the performance itself. In both ways, it succeeds in just this great context about like a prominent, one of the most prominent artists in the world, and how like that their particular craft is shaped. And it's also, just in terms of the energy and exuberance and just the great feeling of it, one of the best concert movies I've ever seen. I only very recently realized that this is probably not technically eligible for awards or various like stricter definitions of lists, because I only very recently realized that it never received a theatrical release. However, as I say in my written top 10 list, if certain other publications routinely include entire seasons of episodic television as movies, then I will include Homecoming on my top 10 of the 2019 list.
I think it's
Well, let me just say that my whole top 50 and much of the movies that are in my top 10, there's no theatrical. Like,
I wanted to make a Kahe Du Cinema joke mainly,
because I think we're beyond that.
Yeah.
Especially for people like me, where I live. If I had to go by theatrical, Jesus, I don't even know if I would have a top 10.
You wouldn't have a top 10.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I can definitely identify with that. I just mostly wanted to make a joke about Kahe Du Cinema saying that like Twin Peaks, the entire third season, was the best movie of the decade. I believe they also said that the first season of 24 was the best movie of 2001.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did do that.
I mean, that one seems like a stretch to me. 24.
Which has many directors. Like, they were trying to be like, well, it's Twin Peaks, it's David Lynch, it's a singular vision. It's like 24, an episodic network television series with a different director every episode.
We were discussing this briefly the other day, and I said if I were to include TV, I would include Chernobyl on my list, because Chernobyl is it's a limited series on HBO, and it feels very cinematic. It doesn't feel like a TV show at all. It just feels like an extended movie. And I think that these days the lines between episodic television and film are very blurred. Very blurred.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just to be clear, I will say that my position on that would be that like any major like release on a major streaming platform, regardless of its theatrical status, is basically counts for the purpose of any list. So
right. I go by, with my lists, I go by if it had a theatrical or VOD release during the year, but I do limit it to feature films. I don't do short films. And I think, Kevin, you do short films in your
hell yeah, I do. And I got some coming up.
I believe
there's nothing wrong with that either.
I believe there was a critic who's through the many decades of top 10 lists, I did a very prolific critic, would sometimes include baseball games on his top 10 list.
Oh yeah, he would. Yeah.
Who was that? I can't remember.
Is it Rosenbaum or is it Hoberman?
I think it's Hoberman.
I think it's Hoberman.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he would put like the World Series, like Game 3 of the World Series or something.
Yes.
I kind of love that.
Which I'm not entirely against that, but at the same time, it's like you don't need to boost the World Series. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know if you've heard of this one.
It's
kind of a small, kind of off the. It's the World Series.
It's World Series. You should check it out at some point.
This is why Marvel movies rarely. I know. Last year Black Panther was like on my list, but Marvel movies rarely end up on in my top lists. Even though I thought that Avengers Endgame, which came out earlier this year, was really good, they never end up on my top lists, because I just don't feel like at this point. I feel like Marvel movies, or maybe even superhero movies in general, are like separate from other movies.
Like they don't need that. They don't need that boost.
I'd like to
include more cheerleaders.
Then I'd like to also include on my top 10 list, if we can just include other things. What about that infomercial with like the thing where you cook the egg inside like a magic heating tube, and they talk about how it's vertical cooking technology.
I'm aware of that. It's
Yes.
disgusting.
From the same from the people who brought you digital fur technology, it's vertical cooking technology.
Vertical cooking.
Kevin,
Lord have mercy. Where are we at? Where are we at?
number 3.
Three? Number 3? I have a short film, and that's America by Garrett Bradley. This is kind of like an alternative history that she kind of constructed, black and white. It's kind of an omnibus movie, little vignettes of kind of tracking like the history and the accomplishments of black cinema. And this is now we want to talk about like where it played. This is Festival Scope has the free website. They have their pro website, which is for critics and stuff, festival programmers and everything. But they do have a free website that'll occasionally, they'll pick like 8 or 9 films from a festival and kind of have like this little mini program. And this played as a part of that. So if you're, a lot of these movies that, get played up at festivals, but they never make it to, the general public, keep an eye out on that free website because you'll find a good number of stuff on there.
Yeah, Festival Scope is, I feel like that's not a very widely known streaming platform, but it's certainly one.
And especially the free website that anyone can use. Like you don't have to be, a professional film professional.
Yeah, the pro one, I don't know if it's still invite only, but the pro one was like invite only for a while. I don't.
Yeah.
I know you might have to have like some sort of industry credentials for the pro one, but my number 3 is The Last Black Man in San Francisco, directed by Joe Talbot. Feature debut for him. Love the performances from Jimmy Fails and Jonathan Majors in this. I love the score. This is I think this might be the only movie this year that I've actually listened to the soundtrack, like on my way to work and stuff.
I remember when you told me about this, like when that movie came out, and when I watched it, I was like, I understand. I completely see. I get it now.
Yeah, this is definitely a movie that is right up my alley. It's very heartfelt. It's sad, but it's also uplifting. It's about a guy who wants to reclaim his childhood home and live there, even though somebody else lives there. And they move out. He decides to just move in, just move himself in. But on a larger level, it's about gentrification and the changing culture in San Francisco. How they're essentially pricing everyone out of the city, and there's a lot of really great things going on in this movie. I love the cinematography as well. I think it was like last episode you mentioned you didn't like the slow-mo stuff, but I loved the slow-mo stuff in this. I thought it
I enjoyed some of it. I felt it was
too much.
A touch overused.
Mm-hmm. I love the scene when the camera was like was it like a rock or something that like a kid threw, and like the camera was from the POV of the like rock. I thought that was great. Anyway, Last Black Man in San Francisco, my number 3. Ken, what's your number 2 movie of 2019?
It is Parasite, which we've already discussed, but Parasite.
Oh yeah,
it's
Hell
great.
Yeah. Check it out.
That's number 42 on my list.
And dropping.
Yeah.
With every minute, Parasite drops a few numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Soon it's going to be underneath that Netflix Jeffrey Dahmer movie.
Oh man,
did that come out this year?
I think so.
I remember people getting mad about that, but I thought that was years ago.
But what was the other one this year? Was that Bundy was this year, right?
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah.
The one with Zac Efron?
Yes, yeah. That's the one I was talking about.
God, that movie's so fucking terrible. It's just her not answering the phone for like 45 minutes.
It's very bad. That movie is
her drinking. Like, I mean, the drinking was relatable. Everything else is just garbage.
Very bad. Ken, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is also a short film. Also, a part of Festival Scope's free website. That's Altiplano, directed by Melina Slam. I talked about this in the very beginning of the year, but this is a experimental documentary of sorts, but not really. It's more of like a landscape movie, if you will. Heard just a lot of footage from the Andes, like in the salt flats and the deserts, the lakes, all that stuff, and just a lot of manipulation with the images, shot in 16 millimeter, using in-camera editing, like a whole host of things. And the interesting thing to me is how she takes this very natural place and kind of renders it to like this alien landscape. It's really phenomenal. I thought very interesting. 16 minutes.
Is that still on the Festival Scope free thing, or is that?
No, I think it's good. Yeah, they're usually only on for a limited time.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They're usually on there for like a month, I think. They'll throw them up until another festival comes around.
Mm-hmm. Got it. My number 2 is Knives Out by Rian Johnson. I know that this is one that I really
now I know you're number 1.
Yeah, of course. With Knives Out, I hesitated in putting it this high on the list because I thought that there were other movies that were like better movies, but I had so much fun with this movie in the theater. I had a blast with it. I saw it twice, and that's something that I rarely do. I rarely rewatch movies, and I had to do it. I just had to put it at number 2 because I had such a great time with it. It is an incredible whodunit that has a really great ensemble cast, and I thought Rian Johnson just knocked it out of the park with this one.
It is a fun movie.
It certainly is.
All right, Ken, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
What's your number 1?
My number 1 is Lulu Wang's The Farewell.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's surprising.
It is a surprise.
I was after I saw Parasite, I was wondering if that would be like the new number 1, just kind of looking at it. But I rewatched The Farewell this past weekend, and I feel pretty good about having it at number 1. It's just such a masterfully like precise and nuanced and just so like engaging and warm and every other superlative I can think of examination of like family and cultural identity and grief and perspective and time, and it's just all there in this really thoughtful family drama with just great performances and definitely just so wise and observant, and yeah, loved it.
I talked about this a couple weeks ago on the podcast. I was putting off watching this because I thought it was going to be so sad. Like I was nervous about watching it because I was like, yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I just can't find.
It comes off that way.
It does, but then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch this, and it's not really. It's not that. It's not
it's
as
so yeah.
It's kind of sweet in a lot of ways, and I was really surprised with this one. So I can totally understand why this would be at the top of your list. Kevin, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is Microhabitat. Jian Go Woon.
This is a movie that I feel like I saw 12 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this back when it played, what was it, like the New York Asian Film Festival, I think?
It was a festival. I don't know which one.
Yeah, so it finally got released on Mubi. If you don't have Mubi and you're kind of disappointed in Netflix offering, Mubi has been doing a pretty good job of putting out, premieres and stuff. And this is one that they finally put out this year, which I was very excited for because I've pretty much been obsessed with this movie since we watched it back at that festival like 2 years ago or whatever. But I think this is just absolutely phenomenal. To me, it plays a lot like Parasite with capitalism and everything. But in this instance, Isam, who plays the main character, she just stops being a part of capitalism.
She embraces.
She works enough to buy whiskey and cigarettes, and that's it. She's homeless. She decides to just be homeless, and she just does enough that she can go to a nice whiskey bar, get herself a glass, and smoke her cigarettes, and that's it.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible movie. I would highly recommend checking out Microhabitat. I really like that one a lot as well. Obviously, my number 1 is Parasite. It's a movie that I think is endlessly rewatchable. I just want to, if I'm not watching Parasite right now, I want to be watching Parasite right now. I thought that everything about it was near perfect. That just from the performances to the location. I love that house. Oh, that house is just so amazing.
You just want that damn house.
And I went into it knowing very little, and the surprises that occur, I sort of floored me, and I think it's just a tremendous movie, and it was easily my number one. I mean, as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's my number one," and it just stayed there.
I mean, as soon as that movie was announced, I was like, whatever year that comes out, that it's going to be Adam's number one.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big Bong Joon-ho guy.
I know.
You know, I was thinking about this because I was doing my written top 10 list, and I realized that Memories of Murder came out in 2003. That was the first movie that you and I saw from Bong Joon-ho, and that was a long time ago. Like,
yeah,
I've been a Bong Joon-ho fan for a really long time.
But another thing for him is for you specifically to be that big of a fan of his. And I'm a pretty big fan too, is he's never really let you down.
No.
Like the only movie for me was Snowpiercer was like, I was kind of okay to me, but he usually delivers. Like I get excited about a film from him and I'm not let down usually. He almost always delivers. And I can't say that a lot about a lot of directors, even ones that I'm like a huge fan of. They usually let me down from time to time.
I rewatched Snowpiercer recently, and I think that I liked it even more the second go around with that one. It's great. I think the source material of Snowpiercer is maybe what brings that down a little bit.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out, we got our three tops here. We got Chinese family movie and then 2 Korean movies.
It was a great year for Asian cinema. Great year. And also there's a lot of movies that Asian films that came out in festivals this year that didn't get theatrically released or on VOD that maybe they'll come out in 2020 that were really great also. So firing at all cylinders. I have a Korean movie, a Japanese movie, and a Chinese movie in my top 10. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for this year.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the year in general? Was it a good
the year like
movie-wise? Cinema-wise. Oh yeah. We all know what it was like in the rest of
fucking garbage.
And I can't believe I'm still alive. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I don't know if I'm gonna make it through next.
I feel like at least we think that the year's over, so we could take a breather. No, at least 5. Like no, we're not gonna make it out the next 2 days of that other garbage things happening, whether locally or globally or whatever.
Cinematically, how do you guys feel about 2019? Yeah, I think it was a good year.
Good year, and me personally, I'm getting very excited. The continuation of what my offerings are between Netflix, Mubi, the Festival Scope website. Like I have an opportunity throughout the year to see a wide range of stuff, and a lot of times for free, which is just fantastic to me.
Yeah, I think it's incredible. I think things are
because, like I've heard some people that some critics and stuff that live in New York and whatnot. And they talk about, your independent movie theaters. You have a chance to see stuff. But as Adam can attest to, I've sent him what my independent theater offers. And
what does it offer?
I don't like
Arctic dogs.
Fiddling, the goddamn documentary about mushrooms. Like it's always docs. It's music docs and just like docs about food or cats. Like it's like I'm pretty sure that.
Does it have the documentary about locking the unfinished final cut of Cats?
They will. When it comes out, they will have.
Oh, I want to see that.
But the funny thing that was kind of exciting is they made a big deal that they finally had Parasite, and they had Parasite fucking like 2 months after every single major theater in the area had it. Like Regal had Parasite. Like you having Parasite is not that big of a deal. Plus you have it late. Like we've already seen it
months ago.
Parasite had already had its major network premiere on NBC.
Yeah, like
surprised it wasn't the dubbed version.
It might be. I don't know.
All right. I think 2019 was a pretty solid year. Interestingly, last year I had a really hard time organizing my top 5, and like I could have swapped out any of the top 5 from last year, but this year was a little bit easier to organize the top 5 lists. But
yeah,
I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @filmpulsenet, @filmpulsekevin, and @kbake_99. And if you have a minute, please consider reviewing us on your podcast platform of choice. For Kevin Rakestraw and Ken Bakley, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.
Bye.